Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Heritage Hip Hop, where we bring your future favorite artists to you today. And not only do we celebrate hip hop music, we celebrate the hip hop culture by bringing you people who are instrumental in laying the bricks and foundation of what this culture is, so that you could benefit from it, not only musically, not only financially, but culturally. Introduce yourself to the people, please.
My name is Shai Montana. Guess I said I'm not a wordy person.
This gentleman is one of the members of the Goodfellaztv. And you know Goodfellas for one of our affiliations, and you've seen 3 of the 4 previously on Heritage Hip Hop. So now here's the 4th. And I wanted to get you to understand who this man is and to check out our show, The Recap, which premieres weekly on Facebook, YouTube, etc. Also, Goodfellaztv.com. Tell them about yourself and how you got down with the Goodfellas.
Oh, honestly, it goes back to 1998, bro. Like, I met Tommy Guns back in '98, and we went to college together pretty much. Big A, I knew from kind of the same way I know you. We was all in Israelites together. Coming up through the Church of Israel. And Dab I met through Tommy. And like I said, I met, through being Israelite. And I guess like when Tommy Gunn started Goodfellas, it was already underway. Like I wasn't part of the beginning of it, but I joined it when it was already past the phase of, when they was throwing parties and stuff. They was about to start getting involved with promoting artists and promoting music. So, I guess, me and Tommy, since we was already cool from all the way back in '98, he knew what I could bring to the table. So that's pretty much it.
How did hip hop intrigue you from the beginning? What made you want to go into hip hop journalism?
Man, I love hip hop. I'll never forget, man. It all started out when I was a real little kid, because, growing up in the '80s, I listened to a lot of rock music from movies that I used to watch. I used to be big on watching what's that called? Nightmare on Elm Street, where they had rock music. So it's like all these movies I was watching was really pushing me to like rock. But then when I started listening to hip hop, man, it was like whatever came on the radio, like the early '90s, like it was like House of Pain, Criss Cross, like the corny stuff. Now we consider it corny, but at that time, I even looked at Criss Cross and I was like, yo, these 2 guys can make it. I'm only a few years younger than them, so that's what kind of got me started rapping myself.
So you got hit by the lyrical bug at that early age. But see, that's interesting, because we are the MTV. No, we're not. We're one step removed from the MTV generation, because in our younger days, the rock music, the pop music, when the pop first was created through Michael Jackson and Madonna, that's our lineage to music. So if you listen to all that, you were born in either 79 to 81. You're in that ripe age. You're in that ripe age of when the cusp of music was turning. Knowing that helped you understand and appreciate all sounds and genres of music. So when it came to rock music, what opened your ear to make you say, all right, that's interesting. How does that go with that type of music?
What do you mean? Like what attracted me to rock music?
No, how did understanding or hearing rock music open you up to appreciating all the different forms of music that you heard at that time?
Well, like you said, and actually now it makes sense hearing it from you, because I never thought about it that way. It was watching a lot of MTV, man. It was really like, okay, now I'm watching for rock music, but they also got Madonna and Genesis. I remember when I was real little, they had a video called City of Confusion or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like all that, just watching MTV kind of gave me like a general appreciation of music. You know,
Yeah.
plus technically, like I guess at that time we probably considered Michael Jackson rock at that time.
Yeah, pop was just forming at that time because there was no
Yeah.
such thing as pop music.
Yeah, so Michael Jackson was rock to me. So, you know.
You know what's bugged out? Like when I think about my journey and understanding music, right? Hip hop was never my first love when it came to music. I think my first love in music was like that soulful type sound. You know what I'm saying? So when I remember going to work, my mom would play I don't even remember the name of the station, it's so old. But it was AM radio, and they actually played music on AM radio. And the song I remember going to school hearing all the time was Barry White Love Orchestra, the Love theme. I remember going to school hearing that in her car. So that was the first thing to open me up to sound. And then after a while, the movie that made me appreciate music more was Goonies. So Cyndi Lauper would come on and Good Enough for Me, and then Madonna and Michael Jackson. It's like, damn, it's all this type of music. So then for me, my hip hop bug opened up when I heard Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, It Takes Two. What was the first hip hop song that made you be like, yo, what the hell is that? It made you want to hear it.
I can't even tell you, to be honest with you. It was so long ago. I had to be 10, 11 years old, man. Like I started liking hip hop. Like when I tell you when I liked rock, that I was less than 10 years old.
All right.
So like I guess, when I made it to 10, it was hip hop, period, man. I can't tell you too many firsts.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you the first hip hop album I ever bought. Can I curse on here?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. No, well, the title has a curse in it.
That's fine.
Fuck up. That was my first hip hop album. Onyx. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't ask me how I was able to buy it at that age, but
You know what? That's interesting because the first hip hop album I ever bought was Domino, Ghetto Jam. But the first album I ever got that my parents tried to hide from me and I couldn't get it was the Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped.
Wow.
Right? And I'm glad you brought that up because coming from that understanding that you came from this genre of music into this, hip hop was always seen as it's not going to last, it's not going to do anything for you, so don't get into it. How did hip hop make a standing statement with you to make you really listen to it as your main genre of music as you pruned your life tree?
Well, going into like I said, I'm just using it as a reference point. I'm sitting here listening to rock and roll and watching horror movies, and I'm like, well, this is cool and all that, but this don't look like my surroundings. Then I started listening to hip hop and talking about drugs and selling like guns and all that. I'm like, oh, this is what looks like what I'm really around. This looks like my reality. So at a young age, I'm like, well, I could identify with something because all this rap about drug dealers. I could at that time I lived around drug dealers. I went to school, like, believe it or not, like kids started early on the block that I grew up on selling drugs. So I literally could identify pretty much with that type of situation.
Yeah, hip hop got bigger for me the first time I heard Straight Outta Compton. I saw it on the box. Somebody called it in, bought the video, and they played it. And when I saw somebody walking down the street with their sneaker on fire, I said, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? And then the streets started looking like downtown Newark. And I went to school in Newark, you see what I'm saying? It's a scene where they're by a wall, and the wall has a lot of graffiti on it. And I said, that looked like Plainfield, New Jersey. That's where my cousins was from. So when I saw that, it became something that was more realistic for me. So then I dove into the culture. What was the most fascinating part of hip hop that kept you hooked? Was it the rhymes and the stories? Was it the beats? Was it the girls? Was it how people dressed?
I would say at first, just how much of my life, because at that time I hadn't really started, like, I did get arrested at 14 selling cocaine, but it wasn't something I continued to pursue. But honestly, it was kind of like, because hip hop, even when it talks about the game, you know, the drugs and the guns and all that.
Yeah.
You know, there's also an effect that you feel as even a bystander. You know, because, you know, like I said, it wasn't like I dove head first in the drug game. I tried it. I got caught early. You know what I mean? And, you know, but it was just how much of my life, you know, the stories would make sense to. You know what I mean?
Mm. How much of hip hop? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if what I said just makes sense.
No, it did, because it led me to a question, and the question is, how much of your story or the hip hop story in relation to yours make you not want to be in hip hop though?
I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry.
Like, okay, so your surroundings and the life you live mirrored hip hop, so it was something you could understand. Right. With your life experiences, like you said, 14, the game, the street, and everything, how much of that made you want to pull out of hip hop at all, if it did?
Not at all.
It made it more glamorous for you.
I wouldn't say glamorous. It just kind of explained a lot of stuff that, you know, like even with you know, bitches ain't shit. You know, like that type of mentality in hip hop. I'm not just talking about the song. I'm talking about the idea. You know, talking about foul females. Like a lot of the females that I dealt with really turned out to be not shit at that time. So it was kind of like, yo, everything. It wasn't just drugs and the violent part. It was life. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, it was.
Hip hop at that time is still today. It seemed to be ran by younger men, but today's element of hip hop is different because we have elder statesmen who will be our generation still talking. The elder statesmen in hip hop back then were people our age, because the ones who were considered old school hip hop were not industry, so they did not have that big push. What do you think about? What if you grew up with the elder statesmen in hip hop like we had today? Do you think hip hop would have shown and been as wild and crazy to you without a mentor within the game for yourself?
If I could go forward 20, 30 years and now be listening to what's going on now in hip hop, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of the elder statements, I would probably, and this is gonna sound blasphemous, but you got to remember, you're talking to a guy trying to figure out what he would be like growing up in this environment. I probably would look at the elder statements like cornballs. To be honest with you. Why? You know, especially like my son with his whole self-righteous, just his attitude and stuff. Because you got to think about it. What was cool back then isn't exactly what's cool now. Even though to a degree it is. Like, we don't do the same drugs now that we did back then. You know, the everything's changed. Like, the street element is different. You know what I mean? I see the way these young people are growing up now. It's not as much being out in the streets. They're more on their cell phones, and everything's more on social media. Like, everything's totally different. You know, so I would have probably identified more with the younger rappers and probably told the older rappers, like, yo, y'all corny. And what would have made it worse was I would have listened to their raps when they was popping and be like, yo, y'all hypocrites, because y'all preaching against the same thing y'all used to rap about.
That's the key to what's going to take hip hop to the next generations and beyond, is how do we handle becoming walking contradictions of ourselves? See, one of my favorite movies of all time is Batman: The Dark Knight, right? And all right, so Harvey Dent said in the movie, like, there's going to be a day when the hero is going to become the villain. Yeah. And that's where hip hop is right now, because I've heard that same argument that people say, you tell us about doing drugs, but y'all the generation who sold our parents the drugs that made us. Yeah. So how do you come up with that? How do you make better? And the people who are in our generation, the older, are saying, yes, we messed up. So please, we don't want you to be like us. We want you to be better. And the younger generation is saying, nah, we're already better because we're entrepreneurs and businessmen while you had deals. How do you feel about that statement?
I would say experience is the best teacher, bro. Because generation after generation has been going. You don't got to start with hip hop. Like, you go back to when people thought swing dancing or whatever you call that was of the devil. Like ever since music started going into mainstream, you've had like a societal impact of that music changing people, and the way society has pretty much been going downwards. You know, because like I said, at one point, if you play any music that wasn't considered gospel, you were of the devil. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we go from that to now, everything is pretty much of the devil if you go by those standards. It's gone totally south. Now music isn't just about love no more. Music is about drugs and guns and violence and all that, you know?
But that's how music's always been. Music has always been about guns, drugs, violence, sex, and love. And God was sprinkled in there now and then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's take it back to you, because as you matured and grew up, your life took some type of a turn because you went from the norm of a kid in America's life to a Hebrew Israelite type of belief. How did that happen? And did hip hop influence you or change your taste of it? To appreciate it when you went into that more religious type part of your life.
Well, hip hop. See, this is how much hip hop means to me. A big part of the reason why I was even open to listen to the Israelites and to become one is hip hop. Because we go back to the early '90s. You know, I became a huge Wu-Tang fan, and with Wu-Tang comes Sons of Man, and with Sons of Man comes Killah Priest, who is an unapologetic Israelite. You know, so it was kind of listening to how brutal, like, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing about Sons of Man and Grave Diggers that they did, they kind of incorporated, okay, they hood like me, but they also incorporate that rock, that horrorcore stuff that I used to watch horror movies with. So it's like, so it made me listen to Sons of Man and Killah Priest, and then Killah Priest was just like lyrically out of this world. So it influenced by Killah Priest, I pretty much said, you know what, I want to know what he knows. Like he was deep. His music was so deep.
I believe hip hop is deeper than music though. Like this is my own argument and my dissertation when it comes to hip hop. I believe hip hop is more than music. Hip hop is actually God's connection from you to him. You know, and just to explain that very quickly, your heart has a beat and the drum is the heart of the beat. So there's a comparison, there's a similarity. I believe that harmony is when all things work together to make one perfect rhythm or sound. When your body's healthy, it works in harmony. Endocrine system, your reproductive system, lymphatic system. When all that stuff works, your body's in harmony, which means it works in sound. It's in sound strength, mind and body. You know what I'm saying? And more importantly, when you take a journey through life, you take steps. And when you write the notes on music, the line that you write, those on are called steps. So music and the definitions of music and the definitions of our lives kind of go together. And with hip hop, right, when people say hip hop is a culture, you can't define it with just the sound. You have to look at how we live. You have to look at how we dress. You can listen to the things that we do, but also there's a core belief and a standard that and a morality that goes with it. So that's why hip hop is able to be blended in many different forms of, I would say, God culture or religion. You know what I'm saying? With that understanding, how did hip hop become more enlightened to you though when you became indoctrinated with the faith of the Hebrew Israelites, and how has it helped your faith develop into your manhood, fatherhood, etc. now?
Well, hip hop, it always gives me like a sound, like somebody saying how I feel, you know, or even when I listen to music that I don't necessarily agree with, because that's most of what I listen to anyway. I listen to music that I don't necessarily agree with. I might pick a line or two out of a whole song that I actually agree with. But it just gives me like best way I could say is a soundtrack to my life. And not just hip hop, but R&B too. You know what I mean? Like you got R&B out there. I'm a big R&B fan, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the one type of music I can't get into. R&B turns me completely off. I just can't.
Wow.
R&B and gospel, I just can't get into it. It's 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 bad for me, you know. And the only reason why I say that is because R&B, the singers are singing about things I can't relate to,
Mm-hmm.
and with gospel, the music, I mean, the message is beautiful, but the music sucks. It's too repetitive. It's very
Yeah.
simplistic. So like, it doesn't move my soul the way other music can. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, that's kind of what led me away from the Wu-Tang and a lot of the hip hop that our era, because I'm older than most of the people that listen to the music I listen to.
Okay.
My favorite rapper, Future. I'm older than Future. You know what I'm saying? What happened was I started realizing, like, yo, a lot of these dudes are just starting to sound too preachy. And I do enough preaching myself. You know, I'm an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? I already preach myself. I don't need somebody preaching to me in their music. Like Dead Prez, like they throw on a hell of a live show, but they became too preachy. So it's like I started listening to music that, like I said, you know, I might not necessarily agree with, but it moves me. You know what I mean? You
That's
know,
interesting. You're a vibe artist.
I guess, yeah, you could say that.
So even when you started rhyming, you was rhyming off of the vibe, or you was rhyming off of the beat?
Well, of course, you're gonna rap off the beat. Well, maybe I'm not understanding the.
Not everybody rhymes off the beat. Like there's certain rappers who are considered goats today that they don't write their rhymes to beats. They write their rhymes and they fit their rhymes to beats. Then you have certain people who rhyme, whether they're lyrical or not, to the vibe of the beat or the rhythm, not to the beat itself. So what was more important to you rhyming? Was it the vibe or was it the
Vibe.
punch and lyric?
The vibe.
But then that makes perfect sense because you have people who are vibing, and then you have people who are lyrical. And the difference between being vibish and lyrical is a vibish person doesn't care about how you take what they say too much. They care about how much you enjoy the song. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how reggaeton was made, right? Reggaeton ain't about lyrics. It's about making girls dance. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, that shouldn't even be considered music.
Why you say that?
Reggaeton sucks. I'm sorry. I don't know. I think, if anything, consider it. I think reggaeton kind of shows. I don't like reggaeton. Not only don't I like the actual music, but I think that they need to acknowledge their father.
Which is?
Because what are they doing? They're rapping in Spanish. That's all they're doing.
Yeah. And they said they said that music was only made to bring the girls to the club because the guys, it's not for the guys, it's only for the girls.
That's fine. That's how hip hop started.
You think so?
To a degree. I mean, there's a lot of hip hop that's really centered around, you know, bringing in women. Like even why wasn't Biggie Smalls a more gangster rapper? Because
it didn't make money.
If you hear any account, it's like, yo, make music for the women. Don't make music for the dudes. So, you know, that's kind of a pretty much, you know, what it is. But at the end of the day, reggaeton or whatever, that Latin trap crap that they got now.
You don't like
that Bad Bunny fag. Like, I think all of them need to pay homage to their ancestors, which is hip hop.
Okay. So now that not being a part of Goodfellas, I got to ask you a question. What is your part in the Goodfellas team, and how is Goodfellas made better because you're there?
I mean, honestly, you just got somebody that I'm just goofy. I'm just I'm the one that's gonna keep people rewinding. Like, did he really say that?
That's needed though. Because
Yeah.
that's an honest appreciation for life that people are scared to be. A lot of people are scared to be honest. Why do you think people are scared to be honest with their opinions or how they feel?
I'm gonna be totally honest. My experience on social media explains exactly why it's hard to be honest, because people drag you for it. Like, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I never make it a secret. I'm not homophobic, but I'm not with the gay agenda. You know, I'm against homosexuality. I don't treat people that are gay any, like, bad or whatever, but at the same time, like, this is my beliefs and this is what I would push in my household. You know, I'm not with the homosexual stuff. So I've posted things like straight pride or gay people should thank straight people for making a mate for them or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but, you know, saying things like that it's actually true. But you'll get dragged for it. And even people that say that they're not gay are going to curse you out about it. You know what I mean? Or even recently. My bad, what happened?
No, I said, of course.
The other day on social media, right? Somebody tagged me and said, look at yourself. So when I looked at the picture that they were commenting on, it was a video of Lizzo twerking in a bathing suit. And I posted 3 puking emojis. So nowadays they call that fat shaming. I'm not fat shaming. What I'm saying is, to begin with, we all know, first and foremost, I'm not a thin man myself. Like, I need to lose weight. You know what I mean? But this society nowadays, like, people do things like, people create titles for things like toxic masculinity and fat shaming and slut shaming. Like, women shouldn't be sleeping around. Let's keep it real. You know what I mean? So the whole slut shaming, you would call me a slut shamer for saying that. People in general should be in shape, including like I said, I include myself in that. You know, so that situation with that comment on Lizzo's picture was taken like I'm fat shaming or whatever. At the end of the day, it just looked disgusting. If you see Lizzo, come on, man, like it's just nasty, you know. But people are afraid because you're gonna have people that are gonna say you're fat shaming, you're slut shaming, you're whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care, you know. But social media, it will make you have to fight for your beliefs because you're gonna have to argue. Like I one time had an argument with a dude over the topic of homosexuality. He said, well, if God didn't want homosexuality, why are there over 100 species of animals that practice homosexuality? And I don't know what website he posted, but I'm like, bro, I ain't going with this. I don't know one. Listen, I know dogs, cats, snakes, and all that. I know animals that I know. You know what I mean? I've never seen a male dog hop on a male dog and try to, you know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I know where he's coming from, and that's a bad argument, but that's for another video, another day. Maybe that's a mic council, I guess, if I even want to go there. That's I'm not going to touch that one. That's stupid. But what I will say is, today's society, especially in the hip-hop culture, led by our ex-president Donald Trump, one of the best presidents ever, we're now in cancel culture. We're now in, okay, everything's ruled by the public perception. That's why Twitter is so hot. And Twitter was going bankrupt so many times, but I think Donald Trump really brought Twitter back, being the president, because he says some of the most outlandish things. And having a personality and an opinion seems to be the number 1 and number 2 killers of society, and that's what made hip-hop what it is. How does hip-hop, how does humanity survive if the opinion is taken away from our character?
I didn't hear what was it?
I said, having an opinion and being having perspective, being an individual is what actually made hip hop what it is.
Right.
So how does hip hop survive if having your own personal opinion like die from this cancel culture that's going on right now?
Well, look at what's coming out right now. You don't have a lot of rappers, even when they're, because we come from a era where, you know, you might call a straight man a faggot if he's showing soft tendencies or whatever. Do you hear these new rappers doing that? I don't hear the word faggot come out of nobody's mouth nowadays. Like their music is pretty how do you say, shallow. A lot of stuff we listen to is, oh, I got this amount of money, you know, or if you get emotional, you just get emotional. It's like, you know, but you don't go into your morals and your values and things. I don't see that in hip hop no more. The unapologetic, this is me, you know, like imagine if Soundboy Burial came out this year. You remember Soundboy
It
Barrel,
would be
right?
underground. It would not be a mainstream song.
I don't even think it would be underground, brother. I think they would be canceled because even a lot of underground hip hop, like that, like the fans, like they seem kind of soft. To be honest with you,
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say every hip hop has remnants of real, what was quote unquote real hip hop everywhere.
yeah,
But it's everywhere. But unfortunately, you have to find it, and that's the key to how today's thing is different than yesterday's. Because
yeah,
what you said earlier, people didn't like jazz music because jazz was slang for sex. So, like you said, swinging your hips was sexy movements. That's why that's why white women loved Elvis so much, because he was the first white guy not only to steal black music and make it real big, but he swung his hips. You know what I'm saying? And in today's cancel culture, yeah, a lot of things that did not fly in the 90s for real are definitely flying right now. So my question to you is this: what is the moral compass, and then how do we keep it ongoing in the culture and in the world where morality seems to be dying day by day?
that's kind of a tough question because my moral compass is the Bible. Hip hop, especially now, is anything but moral. And even to be honest with you, even the hip hop that I grew up with isn't necessarily moral. Whatchamacallit, the NWA wasn't the most moral people. They talking about, it's this and whatever, sell drugs. What about the bitch who got shot, fucker? You know what I'm saying? Like,
But did they have moral songs though?
moral songs?
Yes.
When you say they, I hope you're not talking about NWA.
I'm talking about NWA. Yes, I am.
Moral songs? I don't think so.
You never heard Express Yourself?
Yeah.
That's a moral song. When you talk about fuck the police, that's not a moral song.
Oh yeah.
So they had moral songs. So even though the business world publicized gangster rap to get rid of conscience hip hop. So because violence sells, you will put more money behind violence, and that's why we have World Star, The Grand Report, and FlyHeight.com, as well as others, where people emboss it and media takeout. People will look at this stuff because negativity is what's going to sell. But if you always tell positivity, then people won't share it. I've seen people share fight videos more than they'll share uplifting things. We even have posts where people say, well, these 3 children have the highest IQ in the world. Let's share this. But instead of that, they'll share a crackhead falling through a roof or something because it's funny. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we go today with hip hop. What's going to keep hip hop alive is not the music, because it has to be more than music. It has to be its moral compass. So if Shai had the opportunity to save hip hop, what 5 things would you change about the culture to save it and make it more relevant than it is today for the people, not just for the business?
For the people, let's see. Well, I would definitely make it cool to be smart again, man. Like, it almost seems like if you say anything smart or if you're intelligent now, you get put into a category like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. Like, even though I'm not a fan of J. Cole or really that much, neither one, but they make good music anyway. Like, I'm not. I can acknowledge somebody makes good or great music without me myself liking them. I think that they make really impactful music. They shouldn't be pushed into the underground corner like a lot of those same rappers were back in my day.
Okay.
Another thing that I would do, honestly, is hip hop has to stop compromising with everybody. We got to stop trying to, like Young Thug. To be honest with you, I don't think he's really gay or nothing gay about him, but he just did that. You notice he's not doing it no more.
It's all attention.
Yeah, like, we got to stop being attention whores. That's why a lot of these rappers, like I said, they did the gay, the ambiguous gay stuff just so people could, like it or listen to it. I don't know if there's 5 things that I would even need to do to save hip hop. I think hip hop is resilient. in and of itself.
Well, if it
I
truly
mean,
is
think about
God
it.
culture, it should be.
Think about it. If you go according to the standards of when me and you were younger, hip hop is already dead. Like there's no, literally there's a whole album called Hip Hop is Dead, which I don't agree with. I think hip hop is still, people are still doing it. Like hip hop is still there. I would say this though, if you want to talk about the culture of hip hop, I would say graffiti is definitely, you don't see graffiti anymore, really. The only thing you see now is gang graffiti.
I don't agree, because graffiti turned into anime. Graffiti turned into there's still people who tag buildings and things, but graffiti went into stickers, it went to anime, it went mainstream. It went to park murals.
I never looked at it that way.
It went to comic books, it went legal basically, and people took it off of it took it off the social, the physical social canvas and put it into books. So I mean,
so no more spray can.
Huh?
No more spray can.
Not really, nah. I mean, if you go down to Bergen Street right now, shout out to Torch Fuego. Torch put up a big piece on Bergen and Central Avenue, right by Checkers. I seen them do it. You got people on Hamilton and East Orange. They did a barbershop where they said the greatness on the barbershop with Martin Luther King, Kobe Bryant, and Malcolm X getting their hair done in a barber chair for the store. So, the barbershop. So the graffiti's still there. It's just not tags anymore. Now it's more murals, Yeah. And I mean, like the only thing people could say fell off that you don't really see is break dancing, but that's more overseas, and now break dancing is in the 2021 Olympics. So,
yeah,
like you said, it is resilient and is meant to be kept alive. So, I'm gonna ask you this question before we start finishing out our interview. What is the most dangerous part of hip hop? And as a parent, what don't you want your child to take in from hip hop culture?
Pretty much everything I listen to, I don't want my daughter to take in from hip hop culture.
And what are those things?
What's dangerous is that there is no filter, man. Like even now, I be listening to songs that I used to listen to when I was younger, and they be saying some reckless, careless stuff. And sometimes even me, as much as I love hip hop, sometimes when I'm blasting my music, I turn it down when I'm in certain neighborhoods because I don't want other people hear us talk about ourselves like that. I don't like
your moral compass is growing.
Sorry?
Your moral compass is coming out.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily like. I wouldn't want to be in Clark and have a white person pull up next to me with their windows down and hearing a song that says the N-word 100,000 times. You know what I mean? Like I don't want, because then that gives them, so they call themselves that all the time. So why can't I call them that? You know what I mean? Like I don't like
used in court. That's been used in court already.
Yeah.
There's a court case where in Florida, a guy got shot. Even George Zimmerman used this. Black people call themselves niggas. So when I say that, I'm not saying it as a racist thing. I'm saying it because that's their language. I'm trying to relate to them in their language.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
That was what was used in court. Yes. So these are things that go on. That's your moral compass coming out. So that's where hip hop right now is for people of age, because we always say, Steve Harvey once said, a people are known from the music that they listen to. And if you think of hip hop culture, the mainstream music that we listen to is about wet pussy, drugs, and murder, and sex. And they discount all the good music that we make that's not about that because the mainstream media doesn't make money from it, so they won't play it. And that's the issue. So then there's people who are not old, like Samad Savage, Soulless, Malk, Nick Grant. You got people like Big Crit. You have people like D-Smoke out on the West Coast. You have these artists that make that good music that's about life, but they won't put money behind them. So I think hip hop is at the crossroads. Huh?
Even the Far Side around our era.
Exactly.
There's been a lot of hip hop that's, yeah.
So the thing is, So the thing is, hip hop right now is in a crossroads where now hip hop has to claim its identity. And we see that with Black Lives Matter, the movement, fuck the business. But with Black Lives Matter, the movement, with all this social conscious climates coming out, we see that hip hop is trying to claim its identity. And my final question for this part of the interview for you is this: what is the identity of hip hop going forward, in your opinion, and how do we keep it there?
The identity, I don't necessarily, I don't want to say I necessarily want to keep it there, even though it does make for very entertaining music, because hip hop is a guilty pleasure to me, Karev. I know that what I'm listening to is wrong. You know, all the violence and all the drugs and all the stuff, but it's like, it's so entertaining at the same time. And like I said, mixed with the entertaining aspect, there's a lot of realistic aspects that speak to, I guess that's what I could say. As long as hip hop speaks the people's language, I think that's great. I think that's what it is. As long as it speaks what our language or what we're trying to express. And I would like to see more diversity, honestly. Everybody's not a thug. Everybody's not a gangster. You know what I'm saying? You know, and everybody's not now. It's a big thing to be emotional. Everybody's not emotional. You know what I mean? But
okay.
Yeah, I think if hip hop, as long as it speaks the language and stops compromising with everybody else, you know, like this guy Macklemore, like I hated his movement, bro.
I don't even acknowledge him as a hip hop artist.
Yeah, I don't either.
Him, Post Malone, I don't acknowledge them.
Right.
They're just music.
Well, the thing is, they perform hip hop, so
I don't even call it hip hop.
Whatever they call it, you know what I mean? Because
bullshit.
If it were a different artist, and when I say different, I'm not talking about racial, but if it were a different artist, it would be, you know, we may look at it differently.
I don't.
No?
I'm good. No, I don't. Because any man that wears cut off jean shorts and plays the guitar, you're not hip hop to me. That's some bullshit.
That?
That's Post Malone.
Oh,
all right. So I don't consider that hip hop. And Macklemore, I think unfair. I will say this in Macklemore's defense, he gets an unfair rap because of that Kendrick Lamar Grammy win, and that really solidified him as the butt of many jokes. And unfortunately for him, that's where he catches a lot of flack. Does he make good music? No, not to me. But does he make good music? Does he have good messages in what he calls music? Yes. So I give him respect for that, definitely.
He does, because the only thing I ever see him, only thing I've ever heard from Macklemore is the Gay Agenda. That's all.
Did you ever hear his album? Did you ever hear his album?
I have.
So you heard about the drug use and all the other stuff that he had to overcome and all that?
I probably forgot about it because of the Gay Agenda.
So yeah, that one thing killed the whole message for you.
Yeah,
all right, and look, bro, look, I ain't mad at you because at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell it to you just like this. I understand. And I'll leave it just like that. So before we close out this interview, please give everybody your social media, how they can contact you and see your work.
Well, the main social media that I use for anything is Instagram. So that's GOTHYQ. You could also, of course, catch me on Goodfellaztv. You know, definitely in there. You know, like I said, me and Tommy Guns, man, we go back about a good 22 years. You know what I mean? Me and Big A, we go back about a good 20 years. So, you know, me and you go back about a good 16, 17, maybe.
It's a minute.
Years. And Dav, he's another one. I think me and him probably go back about a good 20-ish years. You know, I really, out of Tommy's circle, I only knew the ones that came around King University at that time. So I think Dav, I met him a little later. That maybe like a cookout or something. But we go back a lot of years, man. That's why we got such a successful show, because we know each other so well. You know what I mean?
True indeed. So with that being said, we're going to go into the rapid fire questions. Are you ready to play this game with me?
I don't know if I am, but
yep, you're ready. You're ready. So the rapid fire questions are not yes, no questions. These are questions about you, the hip hop culture, and your depth of understanding of it. So now I'm going to ask you some bugged out real questions. And for you, I have different questions because I have some rock questions, some hip hop questions, and some faith questions to put in there. Are you ready?
As ready as I can be.
All right. First question. What song or album perfectly describes you?
Damn. What song or album perfectly describes me? You said rapid fire, so I gotta hurry up and think about something. But damn, I don't know if there's one album that perfectly. I would say Future Wizard is the closest one. It's a very emotional album.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, it's very emotional, and still like because the difference between Future and Drake is that Future's like a hood Drake. He's emotional, but he's still hood. So I kind of wear that on my sleeve, that hood thing.
Okay. Let's go to you pick hip hop, rock, or faith. Where you want to go?
Any of them.
All right, I'll just take it to the next thing. If you had to define music in 5 albums, what are the 5 albums?
Damn, you difficult, man. Straight Outta Compton.
Okay.
I don't know why Bizarre Ride to the Far Side keeps coming up in my mind.
That's a great album.
Yeah. 5 albums. Definitely have to throw a trap one because that's where hip hop is at now.
Okay, put it in there.
Pause. I'm trying to think of one though. I'm trying to think of one that would be Jeezy first album.
Okay, what's that? The Recession?
Thug Motivation 101.
Thug Motivation. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's 2, right?
That's 3.
What's the third one? What was the other one?
Bizarre Compton. Far Side.
Bizarre. Okay, Bizarre Ride. All right, that's 3. All right.
All right. Let's see another one. I'm trying to think. You got to throw in. You really have to throw in. I guess it's LL Cool J's first album.
Oh, the radio.
Yeah, because that was how hip hop kind of started.
All right.
When it started really getting big, like that's really, or you could. It's either LL Cool J first or Run DMC first. But one of those two has to be one of the 5 defining albums of hip hop, and definitely. And I guess this is more personal than anything. Into the 36 Chambers.
Interesting. That's a very, very dynamic. That's very interesting. That's a very dynamic thought of music. So let's take it to rock then. As hip hop has the drum as the main source of the beat, the string instrument is one of the main sources of what makes a rock song a rock song. What is your top guitar riff in rock music?
Enter Sandman.
That's one of the greatest.
I was gonna answer that before you even finished that. I knew where you were going with it. Enter Sandman.
Yo, that's one of the greatest. Yo, I remember hearing that for the first time on ECW. I went bananas when Sandman came out. That's one of the greatest songs ever. Yes. Yeah. So who gives a better live show, hip hop or rock?
I couldn't compare because I've never been like I said. I stopped really. I'm only within the past 5 years starting to listen back to old rock that I used to listen to when I was real young. I couldn't tell you.
Really?
I guess if you look at rock shows on TV or camera, they're pretty live.
No comparison.
Yeah. No. Well, I couldn't tell you that. I only have experienced hip hop.
I went to the U2 Joshua Tree tour.
U2, yep.
My man, Exit. Oh my God, that's a whole nother experience. I love U2. It's one of my favorite groups of all time. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's take it to the faith realm of hip hop. All right.
Okay.
I remember your verse on "Blessed Be the Most High" because I figured it out. A song I still listen to this day. You know what I'm saying? And when you hear people refer to God or the Most High in their lyrics, those are the songs that really make an MC stand out, or you question that MC's truth. Give me 3 songs from hip hop where somebody really talked about faith that really made you eloquently think of something bigger than yourself, or even take your mind to a higher level?
Wow. You're. I give you that, man. You're a great interviewer, bro. Because you
I
make me think,
appreciate that.
bro. You really make me think. One song that really was big on like really just deep to me was "Retrospect for Life" by Common, featuring Lauryn Hill.
Nice song.
Like I think he started off the song by saying, "Seeing that you the best part of life, what gives me the right to take yours?" Like that song was very profound. In being song that really makes me think about God a lot. "Trouble Man" by Oskino and Sparks from State Property.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
This is line in there that says, "Is God gonna judge us for turning burners on niggas who try to murk us?" Like the song is like, yeah, it's like about we gotta survive in the hood. Is God gonna judge us by the things that we do to survive in the hood? You know what I mean? Because if you listen to what out of State Property, Oskino and Sparks, I personally think were very religious.
Okay.
Out of all of them, like you had a Freeway talk about God, because you have people that are religious by title, and you got people that really think, like really feel, really embody faith and religiousness. You know what I mean? And I think Oskino and Sparks definitely had a lot of that. If you listen to their music, they were some of the more, in my opinion, introspective street rappers out of State Property. But yeah, that song. And if I had to think of a third one.
Yeah, one more.
From rappers that's out.
Anybody in your playlist, period.
I mean, I could always throw the Princes of Power, period. Like, that's all we rapped about was spirituality.
We'll talk about it.
Well, you know what? I don't want to talk about myself. I'll say Killer Priest, Bible.
The basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah.
The song or the album you talk about though? Like you going to keep it on the song itself?
No, there is no album.
No, I mean the song itself for Bible. That you just that, or you want to talk about the whole Killer Priest first album, Heavy Mental, where he really went to work.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do both. The question was about songs, so
yeah. But that album, I want to put that album in there. Salute to Killer Priest, my guy. We salute each other every time I see him, especially when he on stage. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I told him, yo, Heavy Mental was the album that changed my. Yo, you don't understand. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. Shout out to my man. I
do understand.
shout out to my man. Simply Put, when we was in high school, right? I remember when Heavy Mental dropped, we would go to Crazy Rhythm in Montclair, New Jersey. We got that album and came back to school the next day like, yo, did you hear that? Yo, what was that? And we talked about that album, I think, for the whole day. Like, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Killer Priest for making, that album was crazy. I remember when Killer Priest did a freestyle on Funkmaster Flex, and he said, I got an album coming out, but I'm not releasing it until I finish these last 3 books that I'm reading. I think it was the Book of Jasher, the Book of Enoch, and the Valley of the Dry Bones. When he finished them 3 books, that's when he released the album. It was crazy, yo.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a hip-hop historian for stuff I really like, and I really love that album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's continue to go into the questions. You are an MC or artist at one time, though. So I want to ask you, if you had the opportunity to make your dream track, who would be the producer and who would feature on it, dead or alive, no restrictions, your perfect song?
Wow. See, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. I don't like my music. Of course, when I started liking what they call mumble rap, I stopped liking my music. I'm going to keep it 100, man. Like, I'm the king of the diss track. You haven't heard that, though. You haven't actually, like you heard a few of my songs. You never heard any diss tracks.
No.
Damn. But then who would I get to hop on a diss track? I don't know. All right, if I had to who would be the producer? Damn, man, that's tough. That's tough. I'm gonna go back to Wu-Tang. I'd say Fourth Disciple. I would say Fourth Disciple, and I would probably love. It has to be just one artist or multiple that I feature.
Whatever you want. Your dream song.
I definitely would love to have Ghostface on a song. Ghostface and Killer Priest and Inspector Deck on a song. I think that would be. I would definitely come out the worst verse.
Okay. Very interesting. Let's flip this conversation to you as a journalist. Versus is really big right now, and I personally think the versus is trash. I'm not saying that Swizz Beatz if Timbaland did something bad, I'm not saying that. The reason why I have that opinion is because I don't really think it shows the depth of the hip hop culture. It's just putting people against each other. But if you were in control of verses, what are your top 3 dream verses that you like to see?
Damn, yo, you are a journalist, bro. All right. Okay. See, I don't know, man. Definitely Bone Thugs versus 3-6, but Bone Thugs versus Hypnotized Camp. So that incorporates 3-6 Mafia, Project Pat. Yeah.
Wait. So you want the whole Bone Thugs, the Mo Thugs family, or just Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Yeah.
You want the camps?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, that'll be interesting. Okay.
Yeah, very, very. All right. Let's see another one. Rakim versus Big Daddy Kane.
Okay. Last one.
I think that's one that should happen. Like, anybody that loves hip hop should want to see that one. That one would have to be crazy.
Okay.
I would like another, not the same artist, of course, but like a Jeezy and Gucci Mane, how they was beefing.
Yeah.
And they did a versus.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of some 2 sworn enemies.
Well, the one they're working on now is The Game and 50 Cent.
Nah, that wouldn't be. I don't like that one.
You don't want you want somebody with legit beef who don't like each other.
Or didn't like each other.
So you want 50 and Ja Rule.
That comes to mind, yeah.
You want academics versus Tory Lanez or some shit. That's what you want, yo? Vic Mensa, academics, yo.
Like getting them to work out their like even Brandy and Monica didn't like each other at one point, you know? So and that, to me, that was a great versus itself, man.
All right. Hey, I'm with it. Yeah. I'm with it. We got 3 more questions for Shai Montana. Everybody, thank you for watching this Heritage Hip Hop interview. We got 3 more questions, and I'm gonna let him pick again. Let's see if he's gonna do it. Rap, rock, or faith? Where you want to go?
Honestly, rap. Just do rap.
All right. So I don't believe there's a golden era in hip hop, because whenever you were born, where you really found your identity is always going to be your golden era. Why do you think we cheapen hip hop when we put eras into it and say this is the era of this and this is the era of that?
I think the answer to your question is in what you just said.
Okay.
We really go according to when we're born.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was born too late, really. I wasn't, but I was, to catch the 1988 golden era. I wasn't around when NWA came out. I was listening to rock. You know what I mean? So, but I wouldn't have been intelligent enough at that time to understand half of what they're talking about.
Okay.
But why do we cheapen it is because, like you said, we love it. It's kind of like the question that goes back and forth in the movie. Damn, I forgot. Chocolate, whatever.
Chocolate?
Brown sugar. Brown sugar.
Okay, brown sugar.
The one with Sanaa Lathan and Tay Diggs, where they talking about when did you first fall in love with hip hop.
Okay, I know. Okay.
Yeah. when we talk about the golden era is usually whenever you fell in love with hip hop.
Mm.
So all this music came out, and you just loved it. You know what I mean? That's pretty much it. Like we're all in love. Like when was the golden age of the NFL? You know, whenever your team won a Super Bowl.
Good point. Good point.
You know, the golden age of the Cowgirls was the 90s or the 70s, you know, depending on how old the person you're talking to is, you know?
Side note, shout out to Dallas, yo. Because I hate the Cowboys myself, because if you do NFL history, the NFL got threats that they wanted the Cowboys team taken out of the NFL because Dallas is where Kennedy got killed. History for you. They called them they call it the Dallas Kennedy Killers. And then the NFL made a film called America's Team, and that's how Dallas got dubbed America's Team, because they did a media campaign to save the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas team from people trying to assassinate the players because they were mad at what happened to John F. Kennedy. Yeah, bro.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'm glad to hear that. Like not to hear that, but like I'm glad. Like I was glad to learn it. But yeah, that's what it is, man. It's all about when did you fall in love with hip hop? That's gonna be your golden age.
All right, let's go to a rock question.
Uh-oh.
I don't think hip hop really appreciates its MCs until they die. And if you're a real rock fan, you will understand there are different eras of movements in rock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you a 2 to 3 part question, and I want you to give me your best answer. Like I said, how rappers die, rock and roll figures die too. Kurt Cobain's death really left a hole in rock music. In that grunge era, where people was listening to like Green Day and Primus and things like that, when that era kind of fell because Kurt Cobain died, the genre shifted and it was a lot lost. When you think of the greats, like people think of Biggie, Tupac, and all that, where would Kurt Cobain be in your understanding of music, and how hip-hop could he have been if he survived?
He couldn't have been really that much hip-hop. Honestly, like, he's a whole nother genre.
So, Jay-Z did that shit with Linkin Park.
Sorry?
Jay-Z did that bullshit with Linkin Park. Run DMC did Walk This Way.
Say it again. That bullshit with Linkin Park, that shit was whack.
But Run DMC did Walk This Way. Onyx did who was Judgment Night done with?
Biohazard.
That's what I'm saying. Even you had Korn who did, so they cross genres. Look at Jack White today. Jack White is I think he's the epitome of rock right now with the white stripes. You don't think Kurt Cobain would have crossed genres and had like hits with a hip hop group?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Nothing in his lifetime suggests that he wanted to do that, and I'm going to give you one example of somebody who loved hip hop but just never, unless you know something I don't know,
okay,
did anything with a rapper. Axl Rose was a huge NWA fan. In fact, he had some of their videos he had an NWA on it, but I've never seen him work with a hip hop artist. You know, you just know your lane. Some people just aren't meant for that. You know, I don't think he would ever work with a hip hop artist. Kurt Cobain definitely had that attitude that's attributed to hip hop, that unapologetic, you know, attitude. But as far as him working with a hip hop artist, I didn't see it.
Yo, you are, yeah. Axl Rose tried to collaborate with Eazy-E in the 80s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They had mutual friends, and that's how they got close. It says
so
there was a member in the band who was real close friends with Eazy-E and Dr. Dre.
Oh wow.
And that's how that grew. But you're right. There's not a song that's big that has Guns N' Roses and NWA together. And you know what? I understand and I love your point, but look at Bono and U2 being in that group with Cypress Hill and Public Enemy. We just never know, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the importance in the best thing about music and loving music is having an opinion and seeing it come to fruition. For everybody watching, I said I had one more question, and here's the last question. I want to thank everybody for paying attention and watching Heritage Hip Hop. It's because of you. Our platform is great, and as we grow, bigger and better things are going to come. As we have great art, we got great artists, we have great guests, we have great people who are entrepreneurs who come and tell us about their lives and about hip hop and their understanding of themselves and tell us their story. So thank you for watching this story with us. We thank our guest, Shai Montana, and we ask him this important question. This is the main important question of the first interview. So the door is always open. You know, you're my man, you know, you're my brother, all BS aside. So my most important question to you on the first interview is this. First, may the Most High bless you and your family so that nothing befalls you, because in Donald Trump's America and COVID and things, people are dying left and right, and I don't wish any harm on you or your family, all right? But you are a journalist, and you are part of Goodfellaztv. So you have a blueprint and a digital footprint that's going to survive many, many years. In college, in Rutgers or Keene University or something, in 200 years, they're going to go back and do the digital information age, and Goodfellaztv is going to come up, and they're going to look at your resume and everything that you brought into the world from being with Goodfellas. So my most important question is, what is the legacy that you leave behind that made the world better because you were a part of Goodfellas and you set a digital footprint in the world?
I think what I do is, you know, besides the goofy stuff that I do, because I do that, there's a method to the madness. I try to educate but still make people laugh, because I think a lot of times when you do too much education, you're losing your audience. So that's why I incorporate a lot of silly, you know, stuff. So if anything, like what I think they would probably talk about 200 years from now, if they were to dig up these archives, is that, you know, they would just see the social commentary. Because me and you do a lot of that, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do a lot of social commentary because it's just very important, man. There's so many people that just want to be entertained, and that's why a lot of comedians, they sneak in a lot of social conscious stuff, because that's their turn. Like, listen, while I got you laughing, let me teach you real quick. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I try to do.
I love that. So everybody out there that's paying attention, everything that you do is important. So now that people think you're goofy or you're a nut, you could drop knowledge and change the world by one word or one perspective at a time. I like to thank my guests for coming on. And before we leave, it would be remiss of me not to share with everybody the platform that we are building with their help. So for everybody out there that's watching, thank you for tuning in. And we ask that you please support us by not only tuning into our videos, but join our movement. This is heritagehiphop.com. We are more than music. We are available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. Right here on our website, our home website, we show not only our many interviews, but our shows. The Mic Council is our round table version of the Red Table Talk and The View, where we talk about issues that are affecting the hip hop community. Our show right now currently is the Mic Council 5% Nation of Gods and Earth. So we talk to 5%ers about not only their beliefs, but do their beliefs still stand up in today's hip hop culture and in the world, period. We do podcasts, which come out on the streaming services, where we talk to mainstream artists and independent artists. We talk to entrepreneurs, etc., about their place in the hip hop culture and what they have coming out. International, such as Lady P in Australia, Gabby B Music in Brazil, Natasha Beckley, who's the councilwoman of Sierra Leone, Africa, and Malise, who's from Switzerland. And like I said, the industry, Billy Danz, MOP, Yo-Yo, Federal Star, Cassidy, and many others. The local scene of New Jersey hip hop is popping right now. So your local celebrities, whether they're from New York, New Jersey, or whatever, we showcase them too, like Cash Rock and The GOAT. We premiere on our website for our members free music, and we have our own mixtape or playlist done featuring the old 50 boys out of Newark, New Jersey. You see their videos out now on BET Jams, where they have a whole playlist on Heritage Hip Hop, and members get it for free. And yes, membership is free to our website. We have live shows, and we have live performances on the site. We do truth behind bars where people do acapella bars, and we don't like mumble rap. We want you to be able to hear the people when they talk. So it's black and white, simple, no music. The ladies in hip hop are celebrated through Fatty's Place. We showcase new music videos, and we have our feature playlist celebrating the artists who are coming out with new music today. And one of the artists that we've talked about on the recap is Maximil, and his song 7 Bullets is the first song on our playlist number 5. We celebrate Blurred Hop, which is hip hop and comic book community and the anime community. A gallery of events that we've been to, such as the 00 video shoot where 00 Do It All and Tretch have a new song coming out, a video coming soon. We do blogs showcasing new artists and new things going on in music. Versus, which is intelligent perspective from the hip hop culture, from teachers, entrepreneurs, etc. And for the members, once again, we have free music. You could click on our link to get any clothing that we have. Our Jersey hip hop shirts, heritage hip hop clothing, black print, New Jersey black print, customized art, and Griff-T apparel, affiliates of the movement. For any services, you want to book an interview, you want to book a podcast or get a blog written up, hit our website and we'll get in touch with you. Our affiliates also do credit repair, and we help MCs start their own LLCs. So shout out to everybody who's a sponsor, and once again, shout out to you who help make heritage hip hop possible. We can't do this without you, so why not you? If you have a story to tell, come to our platform and tell your story. And don't think just because you have a song coming out, people are going to download and buy it. You have to tell your story so people can relate to you and form a relationship with you. So with that being said, I said too much. This is Karel from Heritage Hip Hop with Shai Montana saying peace, thank you, and we out.
Peace.